Hey, Jim Wolf here with dating advice for men who love women. Your success with women is built on several paradoxes. For example, is it better to be a jerk or a wimp when it comes to women? Well, the answer is neither. It's better to be a gentle man, where you have a softer side that's gentle and a rougher side where you're a man. So instead of being a wimp or a jerk, you want to be a gentleman or a gentleman. And if the man or the gentle part is missing, it's not nearly as good. And so one way to think of a paradox, especially for the purposes of this presentation, is when two things that seem contradictory actually work better when both are present at the same time. So for the purposes of this presentation, a paradox is when two things seem to contradict each other, but actually they complement each other when both of those things are present at the same time. And because the best approach to dating a woman is often a paradox, I'm going to cover 3 specific dating paradoxes in this presentation that allow you to become more naturally attractive to women. And sometimes these little mindset shifts and changes in our general approach to dating can make a big difference when it comes to our results. So I encourage you to take what you hear in this presentation and then start thinking about how you can apply these principles throughout the rest of the day. Just ask yourself, have you leaned too heavily to one side or the other? Is there a way that you can have a little rougher edge if you're generally kind of a nice good guy? Or can you focus on being a little more light and playful if you're a little too biting and sarcastic, etc.? Where do you need to turn the volume up or down a little bit to be more successful? Ask yourself that as you're thinking about these 3 dating paradoxes. And now let's cover 3 powerful dating paradoxes that make you more attractive to women. And the first one is being interested in a woman and being indifferent and nonchalant about your interest at the same time. Here's the thing. As you probably know, a lot of guys are simply too needy when they're interested in a woman. And if a guy starts learning more about attraction, at some point he realizes that being needy is like female repellent, and then another problem sometimes comes up. He starts pretending not to be interested in the women he likes. In other words, he starts only pushing women away. So before he learned anything about attraction and dating and relationships, he was too needy, and he realized that showing your interest too much is not a good idea. And then he went all the way to the opposite end of the spectrum and basically just only pushes women away at this point. Well, here's the thing. Being needy with your interest doesn't work, and neither does only pushing women away. What we want to do is pull a woman in a little bit and push her away a little bit at the same time. You've probably heard the concept of push-pull by now, and that's very strongly related to this first paradox. And so here's the thing. You want to own your interest in a woman because it's a natural thing and it's a good thing. And at the same time, you don't want to be needy about your interest, and you don't want to show your interest in an unattractive way. You want to show your interest in a woman in an attractive way by starting a conversation with her, asking her for her number, asking her out on a date, going for a kiss, etc., instead of telling her how much you like her or complimenting her 1,000 times. So you have to show your interest in an attractive way, but you shouldn't be ashamed of your interest or try to deny it. And at the same time, you should push a woman away a little bit and not be so sure about her so soon and so concerned about the outcome with her. So you can playfully tease her, which is a little bit of pushing her away, for example, instead of just trying to tell her all the awesome stuff about yourself to try to convince her to like you. And you can wait 4 to 8 days before you ask her out again after you go on a date with her, instead of just asking her out again right away. That's also pushing her away a little bit, and you're still showing your interest in a strong way. You need to do both for this to work. And a really good way to think about this is to just imagine a bow and arrow. When you're trying to shoot an arrow, you have to kind of push forward on the bow and pull back with the bowstring at the same time. If you don't push forward and pull back a little bit at the same time, you're not going to hit your target. And here's the key. You want to be interested in a woman in terms of owning your interest in her, like we talked about it. So if she calls you out on it, don't deny it. If she says something like, "Oh, is that your pickup line?" You say, "Yeah, it is. Is it working?" Don't deny that you're interested in her. And at the same time, you don't want to be so sure about her so soon or so concerned about the outcome. If you go on a date with a woman and it's clear that you're interested in her, and instead of worrying about like, "Oh, am I going to kiss her or not? Does she like me back or not?" Instead of doing that, if you just relax and have fun with her and get to know her without any of that pressure, you're going to do a lot better and she's going to be a lot more attracted to you. And so you want to be indifferent to all outcomes with the woman and just take your time getting to know her to see if your interest in her is even justified or not. When you've just met a woman, you don't really know her at all. It takes several dates to really start getting to know her. And if you want to get married to her, it actually takes about 2 years to fully get to know someone that you're in a romantic relationship with, because it takes a while for all those hormones and chemicals to calm down and for you to start thinking more rationally and for all of her personality traits to come out over time. So be a little less concerned with the outcome, and at the same time, don't deny your interest. Because if you're interested in a woman and you're indifferent or nonchalant at the same time, then you have the ultimate attitude that gives you the best possible chance with her. And by the way, this is also what women want. See, most of the time a woman already knows that you're interested in her, and if she also understands that you're not completely sold on her yet, that gives her an opportunity to show you how amazing she is as a person. And so she feels like she's earning your interest and your attention, which she wants to do. She doesn't just want you to like her for the image that you've created of her in your mind or her looks. She wants to show you who she is, and she wants you to like her for that. And if you're interested in her and also at the same time not completely sure about her yet, that gives her a chance to show herself to you. And so if you take 3 guys where the first guy is way too interested in a woman way too soon and really concerned about the outcomes with her, and a second guy who just, he denies that he's into her at all, and then a third guy who, yeah, of course he's interested in her, and he's not completely sold on her yet. He's indifferent and nonchalant. He doesn't get too concerned about the outcomes with her, and he wants to see how things play out over time. She's going to be most attracted to the third guy if everything else is equal. Make sense? Great. And now let's move on to the second dating paradox. Dating paradox number 2 is being playful and high status at the same time. Playful and high status. When guys first hear that women are attracted to men who are high status, a lot of them think about James Bond. He seems like a very high status man. And they tend to think that being like James Bond means going out to some kind of fancy club with a nice suit or a tuxedo on and never smiling and kind of looking hard. Well, that's just wrong. Listen, women like relaxed men who smile more than uptight men who never smile. On the other hand, women aren't very attracted to men who smile a lot with their mouths and are kind of people-pleasing when they're smiling. Women are attracted to men who smile playfully with their eyes while keeping their mouth shut. I know that seems like a really small thing, but it communicates a lot. And women tend to pick up on body language a lot more than men do. And a big part of that is the way you smile or not. And here's the thing, a real smile is a smile with your eyes, regardless of what your mouth is doing. So again, it's a paradox. It's not that you never want to smile, because those guys don't look very attractive, and you don't want to be going around trying to people please and smiling to get approval, because women aren't attracted to that either. What you want to do is smile playfully with your eyes to amuse yourself and make other people feel good while keeping your mouth shut most of the time. And that's called a smirk. And if you actually watch a lot of the James Bond films, especially Casino Royale, he does a really, really good job of smirking and smiling with his eyes without smiling to seek approval. And I don't know if it's still there, but there's a YouTube clip from Casino Royale called I'm the Money. And during that entire interaction with a woman, James Bond is smiling with his eyes. So that's a really good example of what I'm talking about, if you want to check that out. And women also don't like clowns or guys who put themselves down just to get a laugh out of other people. Here's the thing. Women want to laugh at your jokes, not at you. Women want to laugh at your jokes, not at you. In fact, the best situation that you can be in is when she's laughing while you're just playfully smiling with your eyes and feeling self-amused. So the key to this paradox is to keep your dates light and playful, which we definitely want to do because love is not serious. It's light and playful, so you don't want to go too heavy or too serious on a date. And at the same time, make sure you're doing that in a way that doesn't lower your value in her mind. Don't put yourself down. Don't try to be a clown. You want to keep things light and playful and also be a high status man at the same time. So instead of making fun of yourself, make fun of a situation or even playfully tease her. That's much better than when you're putting yourself down and now she's laughing at you. And at the same time, you want to cut out sarcasm. If you're kind of a really sarcastic person, this is something that you can work on to really improve your dating results. So you don't want to be cutting, biting, or sarcastic. You want to playfully tease her. And judgment and sarcasm are both low status behaviors. So you want to cut those things out for the most part and keep things light and playful in a high status way. And sarcasm definitely isn't playful. And insulting a woman is not playful. So you want to avoid those things. And at the same time, you definitely want to playfully tease her. And then one more thing that you want to do that's in line with this paradox is to have fun with a woman and ask her open-ended questions to show her your serious side and get to know her at the same time. So you don't want to just playfully tease her the whole time. You also want to ask her questions that allow her to share a lot of things about herself and her life with you so that she knows that you're also a serious guy. So you're being light and playful, you're keeping the mood very easy to be in, and at the same time, you want to get to know her more. And you do have that more serious, grounded side. So you want to show her both at the same time. And that doesn't mean that you share a lot of things about yourself with her. That means that after you playfully tease her a little bit, then you start asking her open-ended questions and letting her talk as much as possible. And so if you take 3 guys and the first guy gets way too serious with a woman way too soon, like most men do, and he also takes himself and his life really seriously, and then you take a second guy who makes fun of himself too much and puts himself down and tries to kind of put on a clown show for a woman. And then you take a third guy who just keeps things light and playful on a date, and he doesn't put himself in a lower position than the woman he's dating to do that. She will be most attracted to the third guy, all other things being equal. All right, and now here's the third and last paradox for today. Dating paradox number 3 is leading and being a challenge at the same time. It's your job to lead the process of dating a woman forward, and at the same time, you want to be a challenge. In fact, did you know that our best-selling Attract and Keep Her system was almost called Always Lead, Never Chase? True story. And what that means is that I clearly think this paradox is very important when it comes to your dating and relationship success. And here's the big thing about this. There's a dangerous myth in our society that men are the pursuers when it comes to dating. Nope, that's not true. It's actually more natural for a woman to chase a man. Here's the actual truth. The natural role for a man in dating is to lead the process forward. And then, on the other hand, it's the female role to be the pursuer, to do any chasing that actually goes on. And there's a big difference between leading and chasing, and that's what this paradox is all about. And while some women are needy in general, chasing a man actually makes most women more attractive and more fun to be around because her increasing interest and attraction brings out her best qualities, while when you chase a woman, it makes you less attractive. So when a woman is chasing you and you're interested in her, it makes her more attractive because her best qualities are going to come out. On the other hand, when you're interested in a woman, and even if she's interested in you and you start chasing her, that lowers your attractiveness as a man and it pushes her away. And so this is one of the most important mindset shifts that you can make when it comes to attracting a woman, that it's natural for a woman to pursue a man. And it's just the truth. It happens to reflect reality, even though this concept cuts through almost everything we've been taught our entire lives about how dating works. If you understand this truth, the world is truly your oyster. So again, you want to lead the process of dating, and you don't want to chase a woman at the same time. In other words, you want to take a step forward, and then you want to also take a step back. Or, in even better words, you want to lead and be a challenge with women at the same time. So never forget, leading is not the same thing as chasing. So you want to start a conversation with a woman, and then you don't want to talk to her for 3 hours. You also want to end that conversation on a high note and ask for her phone number. And then when you get her phone number, you're not going to text her 6,000 times. You're going to text her back and forth a little bit, and then a few days later, you're going to ask her out on a date, and you're going to ask her to go out with you on a specific day, at a specific time, and to meet you at a specific location. And then if she shows up for that date, you're just going to have fun with her, and you're not going to be too concerned about the outcome, and you're not going to be chasing her in the conversation. And then if you had a really good time with her and you still like her and you want to go out with her again, instead of just asking her out again immediately, you're going to wait 4 to 8 days and then ask her out again. So you're going to take these progressive small steps forward, and after you take a step forward, you're going to take a step back. So when you go for a kiss, the first time, you don't make out with her for 3 minutes. You give her a kiss, and then you pull back from the kiss first. And now if she wants to kiss more, she's going to be chasing you for more kissing. That's how we want to set everything up. You're going to take a step forward, and then you're going to take a step back and give her the opportunity to come towards you as well. And so if you take 3 guys and the first guy continues to chase a woman until she rejects him, he just keeps texting her and asking her out and asking her out. And finally, she just tells him that she's not interested, or she starts ignoring him. And you take a second guy and he just never takes action to lead the interaction forward at all. So he sees an attractive woman across the bar and he never goes and says hi to her. Or he gets her number, but he just texts her and never asks her out, etc. And then you take a third guy who starts a conversation with that woman, and he also ends it on a high note. And then he asks for that woman's number, and he doesn't text her 6,000 times, and he just asks her out a few days later. And if she declines his offer without offering him a specific alternative day and time that do work for her, he doesn't start asking her out again or offering her more days when he's available, which would be chasing her. And if she accepts and shows up for the date, he has fun with her, he keeps things light and playful, and at the same time, he doesn't ask her out again on that date. And he doesn't ask her out right away after the date. He doesn't tell her that he's going to call her. And he doesn't tell her how much he likes her. He just says, "Hey, thanks for the fun time tonight, Adelaide," at the end of the date. And then he smiles with his eyes and walks away. And then he gives her a few days to think about him by keeping his texting to a minimum between dates. And once those few days have passed, he leads it one more step forward and asks her out again. And then he also goes for a kiss by the end of the second date and pulls back from that kiss first so that she wants more, etc. If all other things are equal, she will be the most attracted to the third guy by far. And I think by now, this is all pretty clear to you. So your ability to take a bold step forward and maintain your self-control and take a step back at the same time basically determines how successful you can be with women. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, this push-pull behavior is what drives women crazy for you and what increases their interest in you. It's kind of like catnip for amazing, beautiful women. They love it. And most women, by the way, have never met a guy who can do both, who's both confident enough to ask her out and also has the self-control enough to take a step back and let her take a step towards him as well. And so if you can be the one guy who's done that with her in her entire life, you're going to stand out and she might choose to be with you and increase her interest in you just because of that. So this particular paradox can take you very far. And if you want to know every possible way to lead things forward with a woman that you want to be with and be a challenge at the same time, then go grab your copy of our best-selling Attract and Keep Her system if you haven't already. Inside the Attract and Keep Her system, you'll discover exactly what to do step by step from the first moment that you see an attractive woman that you're interested in until she falls deeply in love with you, she becomes your official girlfriend, she becomes your wife if you want, and then exactly how to build a great relationship with her that's satisfying for both of you as long as you want to be together. So if that's something that you want, go to attractandkeepher.com/system. That's attractandkeepher.com/system and grab your copy right now. And as a thank you for checking out this presentation, we have some free gifts for you as well. We have some advanced free training for you, and you can get that by going to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. I'm Jim Wolf with Dating Advice for Men Who Love Women. From now on, we're not going to be a wimp or a jerk. We're going to do our best to be a gentle man.